Okay. Okay, so previously we talked about how to open SPSS and then what SPSS is in the first place. We talked about how to open SPSS and then we talked about how to import data into SPSS. We also talked about the data view and then the variable view windows in SPSS. So now we are going to start doing some analysis. Good. So in today's lesson, we will be talking about how to calculate age from a given data set. Now, sometimes in your exam or maybe in your analysis or research that you'll be doing, you need the variable age in order to run some analysis. In order to be able to find or to be able to calculate the age, you need two variables. You need the date of birth of the participants and then the current date. So you need the date of birth of the participants and also you need the current date. Good. Now, in order for us to create the age of the participants from the date of birth and then the current date, would have to take the two variables, that's the date of birth and the current date, and then we try and transform this data into a new data set. In order to calculate or generate the age, you have to take two data sets, that is the date of birth and today's date, and then transform that into a new data set called age. So in order for us to do this transformation, we would have to use the transform button at the menu bar. Now, when you click on the transform button, a pop-up menu will appear. Now, when you scroll through this pop-up menu, you see date and time wizard. Date and time wizard. When you should click on the date and time wizard, another menu is going to appear and ask you, what would you like to do? So here, in this example, we'll be calculating with date and times. We'll be calculating with date and times. Then we'll go to next. Once you click on next, it's asking us to choose one of the following tasks. So here we are going to choose calculate the number of time units between two dates. So we are using the date of birth and then the current date. Then you click next. So in order for us to calculate the ages, we would have to subtract the date of birth from the current date, and then that will give us the person's or the participant's date of birth, right? So we'll select our current date here and drag it to date one by clicking on this arrow button here. So when you drag it, it will move it to date one. Then, so let's in our data we are using today's date. So let's drag today's date in there. Then we are going to subtract that of date of birth from today's date. So we'll drag date of birth in there. Now, here you can actually select the units that we want SPSS to calculate the ages in. So we can calculate it in years, we can calculate it in months, we can calculate it in weeks, we can calculate it in days, and so on and so forth. So select yes for this example, and then we will click next. So once we click next, SPSS is asking us that after it subtracts the date of birth from today's date, what should we call the resultant variable? So in this example, we'll say it should call the resultant variable age. Then remember, we have two windows, right? We have the data view and the variable view. And every new variable that we create has to have a label. So we are going to label it as age here. And then once you are done with that, we'll leave everything the same and then click on the finish. Now, once we click on the finish, SPSS is going to generate the date for us and the ages for us, sorry, and then we are going to see that here. So that is what has been shown here for the ages of the participants. Very simple, very easy. And then when you come to our variable view also, you can see the ages calculated here. Very simple, very easy. So it's nothing difficult. You can replay this video to your own pace and then practice at home in order for you to be able to do the same thing. For SPSS, I would advise you do your best to practice, because the more you practice, the better you get at it. It's all about consistency. So do your best and then practice. Okay, so in our previous video, we spoke about how to calculate ages with the current date and then the date of birth. We spoke about how to calculate ages from the current date and the date of birth. Now, in today's video, we are moving on to talk about how we'll be able to transform the ages from our past video to a new variable called age category. Good. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, in order for us to take age and then transform it into a new variable, we would need to go to the transform tab here, click on it, and then when we click on it, you see a list of commands. Then because we want to take age and then change it into a different variable. So now you are not doing any calculation. You are just taking age, the age variable, and then changing it into a new variable. So in order to do that, we'll choose the recode into different variable command. Recode into different variable command. Then we click on that. Now, when we are able to do that, SPSS will ask us that, what do we want to recode into a new variable? And we want to recode age, right? So we move age in there. So it's asking us that, are we changing age? And yes. So what are we changing age into? So what is going to be the output variable? So you come to the output variable here, and then we say we want to call it age cat. And then the label, we type in age cat as well. Now, once we are able to do that, we click on change, and then you see the change has taken effect right here. So in your exam, or maybe in your research, you would have your own age categories that you would want to use. But in your exam, they can give you an instruction set and then ask you to change the ages into a specific category. So depending on what the instruction set is, you use that. So in this example, we'll be using this instruction set that is saying, so we'll be using this instruction set. Okay. So we don't have age here. Okay. So in this example, we are going to just do our own changing of dates. So in order to proceed, you have to click old and new variables, old and new values, old and new values. Now, when you click old and new values, SPSS will be asking you that, what is the old value and then what is the new value that you would want? What is the old value and then what is the new value? So, assuming we wanted to categorize our ages from maybe 19 to 20, and then from 21 to 22, then from 23 to 24, and then greater than 25. If you wanted to do that, we would have to input commands in the old value and then give a new value command here as well. So let's see how we do that. So in order for us to categorize all ages from 19 to 20, we'll click on this value here, say range. So the range of values from, let's say, 19 or 18 to 20. So from our age that we were able to generate previously, we are saying all ages that falls from 18 to 20, we want to now call all those ages 1. Then we click on add. Again, we want to say all ages from 21 through to 22 should be given a new value, say 2. And then click on add. Again, we can say all ages that are greater than 22 should, or greater than or equal to 22, should be given a new value. So in order for us to use a greater than sign, we have to use this range to highest. So for the range to highest, we say all ages that are greater than or equal to 23 should be given a new value, say 3, and click on add. So once we are done with that, we say all other values. So any other age that falls below the ages. Okay, so let's do less than. So all ages less than or equal to 18 should be given a value, say 4. And we click add. So now we have ages that are greater. Sorry. So now we have ages from 18 to 20 labeled as 1, from 21 to 22 labeled as 2, and then ages that are greater than or equal to 23 labeled as 3, and then all ages that are less than 18 labeled as 4. So we say all other values should be labeled as missing. So in SPSS, all missing files are given the code 99. Some people use 999 and some people use asterisk, whatever you would prefer. So once you're able to do that, then you click on add, then you continue. So once we are done defining the properties of our new age categories using the old and new values, then we just click OK. Then SPSS is going to run everything for us and then generate a new age category for us that we are seeing here. So this is age cut. Now, once we have our age category in our data frame, so here we just change our ages to age cuts. I've done one here previously, but for the sake of the example, I did another one. So I've done one here previously. But for the sake of this example, I just did this age cut. But once you have generated a new age category in here, we would need to be able to come to the variable view and then tell SPSS that the new ages that we changed has been assigned new numbers. So in order to do that, or in order to tell SPSS that, you have to come to the values tab for the age cards, and then on the values, see right now there's none there because we haven't told SPSS anything. So SPSS does not understand that all ages that are labeled 1 are from 18 to 20. So we will have to input it here. So in order to input it here, we click on this 3 dots here, and then this value labels tab will open. When that opens, then remember, we said the value 1 or the new value 1 was 18 to 20. Then click add. Then the value 2 was 21 to 22, right? Then we click add. The value 3 was 22 to 23. Then we click add. The value 4 was all numbers that are greater, all numbers that are greater than or equal to 24. Then we click add. Then the value 5 was all numbers that are less than or equal to 18. Then click add. Then we also labeled all other numbers. So all other numbers, we labeled it as 99. That's all other numbers. Then you click add. So once you are done with everything, you click OK. So now SPS understands this new age categories and then the variables in each, as the variables assigned to each participant. So you see when you come here, it has taken effect. So from 18 to 20 was given 1. See the change. 18 to 20 was given 1, sorry. And then you see the other subtle changes there. And 2 was 21 to 22, and so on and so forth. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. So in our data, we had 1, 2, 3. There was no 4. That's the greater than, and then there's no also 5 over the 99. So I hope with this demonstration you understand how to be able to recode one variable, say age, into another variable, age category. It will be imperative for you to be able to do this because in your exams, they might ask you specific questions like how many people fall within a particular age category. So in order to do that, you'd have to first calculate the age and then transform the age into an age category depending on the instruction, and then you'll be able to answer the question. Okay. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Okay, so in our previous video, we talked about how to calculate ages and then transform the ages into an age category in order for us to do some analysis. So in this example, or in this video, we are going to talk about how to calculate BMI. BMI. BMI, that is the body mass index. How to calculate the BMI. That's the body mass index. Now, BMI is an approximation of a weight and then a height. BMI is an approximation of weight and height. So, in order for you to calculate BMI, you have to divide the weight by the height. You have to divide the weight of the participants by the height. And the unit for BMI is kilogram per meter square or gram per centimeter square. The unit for BMI is kilogram per meter square or gram per centimeter square. So in order for us to be able to calculate BMI, first we'll need a data set that gives us the weight in kilograms or in grams, and then the height in centimeters or in meters. Good. Now, in this example, however, we have the weight in kilograms and then the height in centimeters. But remember, we said the unit for BMI is kilogram per meter square. So in order for us to proceed, we would first have to convert this height into meters square before be able to proceed and do our calculation. So I'll show you two ways of calculating BMI in this video, and then whichever you are comfortable with, you go with it. Okay, so the first one. So first we have to take in our weight and then our height, and then transform these two variables into the BMI variable, which is this. So in order to do that, we will come to transform, because again, remember, we said we want to transform the weight and height into a new variable. So in order to do that, we come to transform, and this time, because BMI is a calculation or a computation between weight and height, we can't go to recode into different variables because we want to do a calculation, right? So we can't go to recode into different variables. So this time we'll come to compute variable. Compute variable. Why compute variable? Because remember earlier we said BMI is weight divided by what? Height. So that is a calculation or a computation variable. So go to compute variable. Now, SPSS will ask us that, what do we want to compute of what we are computing? What is going to be the end result? And that is what is in this tab here called the target variable. So in this target variable, we'll call it BMI. Good. Now that we have the target variable here, we can click on this tab and label also. Then the label, just like in the previous videos, we label it as BMI and then continue. Good. So in this numeric expression tab here, or in this numeric expression dialog box here, we would have to move in our weight like this. So weight divided by, so this is the division sign. So weight divided by our height, right? Our height. But this time, we know that the height is in centimeters. So we can't use this. So instead, we can do a computation here directly and then bring this bracket here and then move our height into the brackets this way. Good. So now that we have moved our height into the brackets, we know that in order to convert centimeters to meters, we'll have to divide by 100. We have to divide by 100. So we divide our height by 100. So once we have done this, we have the height automatically converted to meters squared. So once we have done this, we have our height automatically converted to meters. So now we have to square it for us to be able to calculate the BMI. So in order to square it, click on this asterisk here, and then click on 2. So this becomes the new coding for calculating BMI. That's the weight in kilograms divided by the height in meters squared. Then we click OK. Once we click OK, so it's asking us to change the existing variable because I've already done one example. So let me change the name, say BMI. Okay. So we click OK. And then we have a new approximation. That is the BMI that we see in here. Good. So now we have the new BMI in here. So that is how you are able to calculate a BMI. So just like the previous video where we talked about the age and the age category, here also you might be asked to convert this BMI into a BMI group or a BMI category. So they might say that all people who fall within BMI ranges of 0 to, let's say, 20 are people who are underweight. Then anybody who falls between, let's say, 20.1 or 20.01 through to maybe 30 are people who are normal, or they have a normal BMI. And then they'll say maybe people who fall within, let's say 30 through to, let's say 40 are overweight. Depending on the instruction, you can create a new group here. That is a new age category. And in order to do that, you can check the previous video where we did the age category. It's basically the same thing. You come to transform and you recode into a different variable. So this time, instead of the age, you choose BMI. Instead of the age, you choose BMI, and then you rename it as BMI, let's say group or BMI category. Then you change the label also, BMI cuts. You click on change, then all the new values, use the range through to input your figures, and then that will be all. You click continue, and then it will generate a new BMI group for you. So once it generates the new BMI group for you here, you are going to see it, let's say, in ones and twos. So you are going to get a categorical variable that will be labeled maybe 1, 2, 3, depending on what your instructions were or what you wanted to do. So once you are able to do that, you have to come to your variable view and then look for your new BMI group. or BMI category, and then you come to your values tab, and then in the values, you click, and then you assign new values to your new, you assign new labels to your new values that you are able to generate in SPSS in the data view window. Very simple, very easy. See, it's not difficult at all. You guys are even very smart, so I'm sure you get it. Great. So moving on. Once you're able to do this, you can actually start your computations depending on your questions. Maybe if you are doing an exam, depending on the question, you can calculate maybe specific BMI groups. You can do calculations for specific BMI groups and what's happening. So again, you can try and then generate your own category, maybe the age hemoglobin level, then create a hemoglobin category and say all people who are between a specific range are anemic. Then another range will be non-anemic, and then we'll create that category as well. Good. So it's the same thing. Transform, we go into different variables, and so on and so forth. So that's how you'll be able to calculate BMI. That's how you'll be able to calculate age. And then you go then to new variables. Very simple, very easy. If you have any questions, you can put it in the comment section or send me an email, and then I'll do my best to answer it at my earliest convenience. And also make sure you hit the like and subscribe button to help support me to make the channel better. And when you hit the subscribe button, please hit the notification so that immediately a new video uploads on SPSS, you'll be the first to know. Hi, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next one.